My name is Alexis. Welcome to the MTX podcast. And today I am joined by...
Hi, I am Sakshi Goyal. I'm the Director People Operations and Growth at MTX. I've been associated with MTX, I think, for over a while. It's been over an 8-year-long journey.
Wow.
I joined when we were a handful of people. I come with a decade of experience in HR, working in different industries, from telecom to IT to BPO, and I have a unique experience in setting companies ground up and helping them build their culture and everything. So that's a bit about me. We'd love to know more about you.
Yeah, thank you. So I am the CEO admin here at MTX. I come from a little bit of a different background. I was actually a teacher before coming here.
Nice.
And so I started here as the office admin, and then, I work at the headquarter office, so then started working for our CEO. So that's how I got here today. I've been here for about 2.5 years, so not nearly as long as you, but but I'm working there. So I'm excited
You'll definitely get there.
Of course. But I'm excited for our conversation today about culture.
Absolutely. I think culture is what got me to MTX as well. When MTX eventually came to me 8 years back, all I could see was a homegrown company, and not an investor-led company, a privately held company starting to grow, and there were a lot of bunch of people, energy, and the people-centric approach was everything that they focused on, and I took it up on me as a challenge, and then came right here. And I think culture since the first day has been a very important part of MTX. And then while we were growing and we were multiplying, I think culture was one thing that I'm glad the company had always had its focus on, on building it up and maintaining the same. Initially, it was easier when you are a handful of people to maintain that culture, but then it needs constant investment and conscious approach to ensure that you are keeping that alive when you're growing. When during COVID, when we were multiplying our strength every year, we were doubling each year. There were times for back-to-back 3 years, we were doubling our employee strength. So it was really important that we keep the culture alive with all the new people being added and ensuring that they understand the value, they understand the culture of the company. I think that was one critical job we had, and I think seeing the culture, it's my first time here at the headquarters office, and I'm seeing the culture out here at the headquarters office. I think we have done a fairly good job in maintaining that. All thanks to the entire support from you and everybody else in the headquarters office.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too that you have the background of seeing it from almost the beginning, right? And so you have that experience, and then I came in post-COVID. So even, just a completely different time. And like you mentioned, being here at the headquarter office, that's also different because, we tried to really start the culture here and set the example and then drive that. We're a global company. So we're, we have to set that example here. And so I love that you're able to see that whenever you come here, and we're so glad to have you here as well.
Absolutely. I think it is an equal pleasure for me to be here. The last time I missed the headquarters office, and I can regret it now that why did I miss it last year. But then it is always nice meeting people, seeing actual faces to people that you've been talking, communicating it for a while, and it is a lovely experience. The culture and the vibe on the floor that you've done, I think I can tell you are doing an amazing job out here. You've been an amazing host for us the entire week. So thank you so much for the same.
I kind of want to ask you, I guess, talking about culture and growth. So how do you think, not just MTX, but we can, broaden this to any company. So how do you think that companies, can keep that culture at the center when they are growing? Since you were here when we were smaller and have seen the growth, how have you seen that work, through all the different stages that we've been through?
I think one very key important factor that I can say is important is communication. It is all about communication. We need to ensure we are communicating with people. Culture can never be top down. It always has to be bottom up. Employees need to feel empowered. I think at the very beginning we realized this as a fact, and we ensured we have fun ministers and fun culture, which is entirely led by employees. What do they want and to get their feedbacks, because if they are not empowered and they do not feel that as a part of culture, as leadership we might do anything and everything, but that is not going to work. It is only going to work when people want that to work, because culture is all about people and that people centric approach. So if we are not, if culture is only driven at the level of leadership, then I think we are doing something wrong. But here I believe, when I see people driving the culture, I've seen that for the past 8 years, and I can tell you, it is, when it is employee driven, it is the most key factor in building the culture.
I agree with that. I mean,
absolutely.
The people are why we're here. You know, that's what keeps us going. That's who is serving our clients. And so
absolutely,
I agree with that 100%.
100%.
So I think something that's different about MTX, and again, I came from a teaching background, so I don't have other corporate experience, but something that really drew me to MTX when I started here was kind of the feeling of family. Like it really does just have that atmosphere of, you know, you're coming to work and it's not just like coworkers that you're working with. And I think a lot of that is because the culture starts from the bottom, right? Everyone has bought into it. We're all wanting to better the culture of MTX. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about a few things. You know, we're on completely opposite sides of the world usually. And so I think it's really cool that, you know, even though we are so far apart, that we still have our cameras on and see each other in meetings. And you guys travel and come see us. And we've had people go and see you guys as well.
We'd love to see you there as well.
Exactly, yes. Yes.
We'd wait for every one of you to come there as well. And we'd love to be the host there.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of culture too, is having that heart of hosting. And especially, you know, being here at the headquarters, we host externals, internals. Same with our India offices. Do an amazing job whenever we have people travel there as well. And so that's something that I think starts from the top here, you know, with our founders is they are so driven to have that hosting spirit and just make everyone feel welcome when they come here.
Absolutely. I can be the flag bearer for that, because I can tell that I have experienced that firsthand, the kind of hosts that they are and the kind of culture that they bring in. I think as important it is for the employees to drive the culture, but then the company to has that as one of the core values is equally important, because if company does not want to focus on the same, employees might want to drive that, but they'll not feel empowered to drive that. They can only be empowered when the leadership is empowering them and they have a focus, because culture is a conscious approach. It can never be, culture cannot be something that we just drive. It just happens. It never
needs to have a purpose, right?
It needs to have a purpose. It needs to be like, what do I call it? It needs to be conscious that we are focusing on that. It cannot happen like by itself. It needs to be a conscious approach that we are taking on building the same. And I think our founders have done an amazing job. It has been an amazing experience working with them, growing with them, learning with them. I also feel a very important part of culture is learning as well, because if employees are empowered but they do not get that atmosphere where they're growing or they're learning or growing with the company, I can tell you I have grown tremendously with the company. Being I was young out of college, and I had experience, but a little experience across, and then growing with the company, I was as naive as the company was back then, and then we have grown together. So I can see how invested the company is in learning, and that is another aspect which I believe has played a crucial role in helping us grow.
For sure.
As a company.
And you mentioned how important it is for leaders to empower people. And I think we see that. We have the chat that has everyone around the world. You know, it's not just our headquarters office. And I love just seeing the shout outs that happen in there. You know, it's not just this chat where you're just getting, you know, your typical business updates. We're uplifting our teams, uplifting the hard work that's happening. And so I think that's an awesome way that our leaders are really empowering people. And I think that can go such a long way, and something that, you know, we live in a world where there's so much virtual and there's so much remote work. And so I feel like that can get lost when you don't have someone to say, hey, you're doing a great job today, you know?
Just a thank you goes a long way.
Exactly.
I think recognition or encouragement is not about, or motivation is not just about monetary or big or small efforts. It's just a small thank you. You're doing an amazing job. From the CEO uplifts you for weeks and months and years, I can tell you. And I have had that first-hand experience. And just from your colleague or peer, just a simple shout out for that matter, and then getting to interact with the leadership on an informal basis with the latest snack and chat that we have started is an amazing approach that we are now trying to get back from remote to now wherein we are physically present. And then, like you rightly mentioned, everything with COVID, everything became virtual, everything went virtual, and now we are trying to get that back to now being more physically present out here.
Yeah, and I think, you know, something that was interesting coming from teaching, I was really scared to step into a corporate environment because you hear about, you know, C-suites, executives, you hear those big titles and it scares you. And then you come to a place like this and everyone is so approachable, and you can go and learn from one of our executives. You can go and learn from one of our C-suites. It's not this like separation that we have, which again, just so positively feeds into the culture that we're driving, because we're all in this together. You know, if an executive needs to step in and help out, they're going to do that. And so that was something that I had no idea what that was going to be like coming from being a teacher. I was really nervous about it.
So how was it dealing with students and now dealing out here with people?
So actually something I was going to bring up. So as a teacher, the first couple of weeks of school, they tell us not to even focus on content that we're teaching and just focus on building relationships. And I thought it was so funny that when I came here, that is what is being talked about here. They talk about how everything starts with a good relationship. Everything starts with setting that foundation. And so that was just really cool to, you know, obviously I did 4 years of college to be a teacher and learned all about psychology and all of that. And at the core of it was how important relationships are and building trust. And so coming here and just, you know, culture is talked about on every single monthly all hands that we have. We celebrate the fun things that are happening at all of our offices and virtually. And so, yeah, it was really interesting coming from teaching and seeing that bleed over into corporate.
Well. I feel it, like I can relate to what you are saying about talking about being like culture being the center of it, and how important it is to build relations. For a fact, if I want to tell you some interesting MTX facts, I think in India, if I tell you, more than 90% of the initial first 50 employees that we have had are still with us.
That's amazing.
Which speaks and which goes a long way telling us about how invested we are in building that relationship with people, that 90% of people have completed 8+ years and they are nowhere leaving the company. Because we see in IT, particularly in the industry that we are in, IT sees a lot of attrition. We understand what kind of attrition IT deals with, particularly during COVID, pre and post COVID. The attrition numbers have skyrocketed for us. And for years, we were able to maintain 1% below attrition, which was our dream to do that. Eventually, I believe some kind of attrition is good for the growth of the company in their hyper growth stage as well. But then we maintained that 1% attrition for good over 5 years across all our offices. Not just India, but India, US, all our offices. So which to me was amazing. And which can only be achieved by what you mentioned, is building that relation. Because our CEO invests so much time meeting with people. I have seen him when we were about 150 people as well, meeting everybody in person,
Yes.
one-on-ones. Even if it was 2 a.m. in a hotel lobby, he was sitting and meeting them and building that relationship, not just with the senior leadership, but each and every employee that has joined or people that have joined the company, may it be an intern, he would meet, he would extend his days. He was in India for a couple of days, but he would ensure he's meeting all those 150 people
Right.
one-on-one,
Yeah.
even if it was 2 a.m. 2 a.m.
Yes.
in an hotel lobby,
Yes.
and he was meeting them. That is, I think, one thing that has built the culture for us.
No, I agree. And I think, again, just all of that is so important to who we are as a company. And really just sets an example. Like, I hope that there's other people that are watching this who have the same feeling about where they work. I really hope that this is a feeling that isn't just here and that other people, feel that as well, even through the growth of companies. No matter if you're virtual, I think it's just so important, we're with our colleagues a lot of the times more than we're with our families sometimes, right?
Definitely, because I think we always talk about, as corporates, we spend more than half of our day up, like we back home. Once we are home, we are sleeping half of the time.
Right.
But most of our uptime we are spending with our colleagues, and then when colleagues become family, I think that is one of the best part of working together.
I agree.
When colleagues are family.
Yes, and I think that's what we've done here, and I've loved just being able to talk about the culture. I think it sounds like we both have really enjoyed the experience here and helping build the culture as well.
Absolutely.
We're a part of it too, right?
That is the fun part that we were talking about. Every employee is empowered to build that culture ground up, and we have both been not just a part of it, but helped build that up as well.
Sure.
And I hope everyone in the company, or every family member, as we used to call, or as we do call, MTX family member, feels the same.
For sure.
That they are not just a part of an amazing culture, but they are building a
Yes, exactly. Yes. Well, I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
We talked about how we have our fun ministers.
Yes.
And the theme for our fun minister is superheroes.
Yes.
So every quarter we get a new fun minister and they get to decide what superhero they are. So I want to ask you, if you had to pick any superpower, what would your superpower be?
To be invisible, I think, at times.
That's a good one.
Yes,
okay.
Because I think you can be mischievous when you are invisible. It could be a lot of fun if you are invisible. I think that could be, and I think for us as an HR, we are quite visible at every point in time. We are quite visible. There's somebody else, someone noticing us. So I feel being invisible is too powerful, and I would want that for some time.
That's a good one. Yes. I love that. So I go back and forth on this. This is something I actually think about, because I feel like it's a random question that like comes up in meet and greets and stuff. So I would actually want to be able to read people's minds. And I know some people may be like, I don't know about that. But I am someone who really cares about others' feelings. And so when I don't know how someone is feeling, that's like a really hard thing for me. And so I kind of think I would rather just want to know what people are thinking than to stress about it and not know.
I cannot agree more on this. We deal with people all the time.
That would probably be really helpful for you.
Yes, helpful for my job that I do, because we are dealing with people day in, day out, and get to know them, what they are thinking beforehand. When we go in front of them and wanting to talk, I think we'll be able to better mitigate situations.
That is true. Yes. So maybe we should find out a way that we can make our superpowers come true.
Yes.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time today, coming and visiting us. It's been great. This is our first time to meet in person this week. So
absolutely.
It's been great to get to meet you and talk with you, and just, I love talking to people who have been here from the beginning and just learning about the culture. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I cannot thank you more. You have been an amazing host for us the entire week, and I thank you so much for taking such good care of for us. I do not feel that we are meeting for the first time.
I know.
Yes,
it
feels like
yes.
we've known each other, and we've known each other all along.
Yes.
Thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the MTX podcast, and we hope that you will continue watching our next episodes.